Welcome, Giuliana. So we start with the second part of this day, this presentation. We have more or less 1 hour to talk about your play that has been selected, your work, your background, and also what could interest a lot of the person present here. Not so much only the content, but also the way of writing, the kind of dramaturgy. Because one of the beauty of this project is not only to present different stories, but also present different ways to tell stories, different ways to write, different type of dramaturgy. And I think this is the beauty of this project, to enrich the panorama of how we can tell stories, how we can make theater. I propose, Giuliana, if it's okay for you, that I ask you questions in English, and then feel free to answer in Italian, and then I can translate this into English. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here, very honored, excited. It's a lot for me. Thank you.
So let's go immediately on the play Dentro, which can be translated in English, Inside. The story of Inside is basically a dialogue between a playwright and a woman. And the woman is a mother, and the mother approaches the playwright to tell the story of the mother, or rather than the story of the mother, the story of her daughter. And basically the mother suspects that her ex-husband has had sexual intercourse, raped the daughter. And it's not completely clear if this has happened or not. And the mother is so desperate that she doesn't know how to get some help, who to talk with. The daughter is violently angry at the mother. So the mother is desperate, and she sees as a last chance, last desperate attempt to talk with a playwright, to stage the story, to see if this story can help other mothers or other daughters in a similar situation. And so the play is about this dialogue between the playwright and the mother, and how the playwright discovers the story, how the mother tells the story, how the playwright does an inquiry, because the playwright is used to do this kind of documentary theater. So she does in parallel an inquiry about that. She meets lawyers, social workers. She discovers, let's say, this world of, let's say, incest, taboo. And then at the end of the play, there is this surprising twist where the mother probably understands that the rage of the daughter towards the mother, it's because the mother, all this time, she was not reading the signs that the daughter was giving. All the time the daughter was basically telling the mother, look, there is something going wrong here. And the mother refused to see these signs. And then also when the problem kind of emerged, instead of facing the pain of the daughter, she always used someone else. A social worker, a therapist, a lawyer. So she was never able to face directly the problem. She was never able to talk directly with the daughter. And probably that was the biggest pain that the daughter felt. So there is a sense of shame at the end by the mother to realize, actually I'm as guilty, let's say, as the father in not acknowledging or refusing to acknowledge what happened. And the strength of the story, it's really in its, let's say, bareness, because there is no artifice. It's just the dialogue between the mother and the playwright, and then the inquiry of the playwright. So there is nothing else. Whereas in time, it's such a charged story, and the emotions are so dense, and the journey that you are taken into, it's so devastating. I found very impressive play, how you manage to express all this emotion. And at the same time, because there is a playwright, there is a kind of meta discourse about theater, how to stage a story, how to stage violence, how to make a discourse about violence, how to talk about trauma, how to heal about trauma.
About truth.
About truth, yes. So that there is this double layer, that there is a story that we discover, this kind of inquiry, what happened with the daughter, and then there is this meta-discourse about how we can speak about this research. So it becomes like an inquiry, and then an inquiry about the inquiry. So there is this double layer that it's there all the time. Plus then this twist towards the end. So how could you write this story? Like what was the process? What was the journey to manage to write such a text like this?
Thank you, because it's a very complicated story, and you're right. There are different levels, many different levels in this play. Okay, my English is very simple. If it is too simple, I ask him to translate it from Italian. Okay. First of all, I can say that is my last play. I write it after 20 years of writing. 20 years starting from a very simple writing style. At the beginning, 20 years ago, I wrote a story about giving birth, la nascita. And I was a sort of a storyteller. In Italia we have un filone di teatro molto importante che è il teatro di narrazione, dove chi performa, chi fa lo spettacolo generalmente è l'autore di se stesso.
So in Italy there is a type of theater which in Italian is called teatro di narrazione. We could maybe call it storytelling theater, although it's not necessarily storytelling in the sense of folk tales, maybe spoken words, although it has a very strong poetic component in these spoken words. So I don't know what could be the right translation in English, but let's say in teatro di narrazione, usually it's a monologue, and the actor who is giving this monologue, usually he or she is also the author. So it's it's very often a personal story or historical element, and that it's an author-actor.
Questo pone l'accento sull'atto della testimonianza dell'artista di teatro.
And this gives a special accent on the status of the actor being a witness of the situation, of the historical moment.
The actor chooses what he wants to say and how to say.
L'attore sceglie
Sì.
come dire.
We are going crazy now. It's just the beginning. Okay, so just to say that this is the beginning of this path that I went through. Being an actress, choosing what to say and how to say to the audience directly. Okay, this is the beginning. Then this sort of narratore neutro. Okay.
So a kind of neutral narrator, neutral storyteller.
Okay, he can talk in a way that include automaticamente, cioè include spontaneamente la tecnica dell'attore su palco. Okay.
So by being this author narrator, when you write and when you perform, you can include directly the technique of acting while you are writing.
Yes, his reason, his color of the interpretation, everything, okay, in what you write is automatically there. Then, after that, I start writing for characters. Characters, not me, not a neutral narrator, but a character who talks directly to the audience. But it's a character. It's strange. It start being è un po' un meccanismo che crea nel pubblico una specie di incantesimo a volte, perché il personaggio è veramente molto lì ed è veramente molto il personaggio.
The character, the fictional character, talking directly to the audience, so without a fourth wall, but directly addressing to the audience, there is an element of power, almost like enchanting, where you can not subjugate, but create a sense of destabilization towards the spectators, because they feel that there is a living person in front of them talking straight to them, revealing truth, witnessing this historical moment, witnessing specific issues.
And when it's one actor, one actress performing different characters in the same play in this way, il risultato è una forma di straniamento, quindi ciò che viene raccontato è automaticamente molto politico.
So with this form where an actor or an actress talks directly to the audience, even embodying several characters, so there is still a change, this acting technique of changing the body, changing the fictional character, but still, because there is this direct contact with the audience, it creates a sense of estrangement that gives a political dimension to whatever is said. Whatever this character / actor is witnessing, it becomes a political moment.
And I like it very much because there's a lot of theater, a lot of the game of theater, the pleasure of being on stage and using all the theater gives us as instruments, but at the same time we can see it is theater. There's something fake going on, and I really like that. I really like to be with people, talking to people, really. And when this happened on stage, to me, words, the words are not so powerful as much as the body, the real person on stage talking to real persons. You understand what I mean? So my writing changes all the time. Sometimes I write it and then I forget what I just wrote, because there something else happens, so I have to change my writing. This is something that I wanted to tell you, to explain how we arrive at the end, after 20 years of this strange life, to dentro.
So, if I understood correctly, the initial point of the intro is actually a real event.
Yes. In dentro, I want to be very honest with you. Dentro surprised me a lot as a piece of art by its own. Something like, wow, what are you? Because I was, okay, it's exactly the way I say in the play. I was asked to write something new for an important festival in Italy, la Biennale Teatro di Venezia. The whole festival was about censura, can you say? Censorship and hiding. Okay, and I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. I don't know what to say. I have nothing to write about. Okay. The same days, this woman looked for me to talk me about the story. Everybody asked me why she came to you to talk to this story, about this story. And I said, because I've been doing this for 20 years. People know that. People know that I listen to everybody's stories. I choose what I want to talk about, obviously. I mean, I'm not in the office opener. No, it's not like that. But when they come to see my shows, they feel there's a step before, okay, very important step, where I listen to them. Okay, so they call me, they write me, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? I want to tell you my story. Okay, most of the time I say, thank you very much, I am not interested in, but I listen to them. So this is what happened. I listened to this woman, and she told me, you know, in theater you can say things that we cannot say. You can talk about this matter, this subject so difficult. And I said, okay, but I cannot do theater now about this thing, okay? When I realized there was happening something, a coincidence, I said, okay, let's try. Let's try. But I don't know how. I don't know. And every time is this for me. Every time I write about a subject, when I wrote about war, I went to interview the mother of young Italian soldiers who died in Afghanistan nel 2010.
Yeah.
Yes.
2010. This is another play by Giuliana Musso, My Hero, which I was also thinking either to select, also because now Finland entering in NATO, this will become a big issue also for us in Finland. And I think in your play, My Hero, it kind of deals with this issue of soldiers, Italian soldiers sent to fight a war in Afghanistan that they have no relation with, they don't know why they're there. And so it's the witnessing of the mothers who are losing their children in this war that they have no idea why they are sent there.
È quel motivo per cui il mio teatro è stato definito teatro di indagine, nel senso che origina da un'indagine, da una ricerca sul campo di testimonianza diretta.
And this is why the theater of Giuliana Musso is defined in Italy teatro di inchiesta, inquiry theater, or I don't know if you can say documentary theater, maybe inquiry is better, because whenever she chooses a subject, there is this research that she's doing, interviews. In the case of My Hero, the meeting with the different mothers who lost their child in Afghanistan, and she collects all this information, and then you rewrite them. You kind of make a fictional transposition.
Puoi dire che l'inchiesta non è sul palco, è prima. Sul palco c'è solo il teatro.
Yes, the inquiry happens before in the writing. On the stage, in the case of My Hero, is just the story. These mothers witnessing the death of their kid. But in the case of Dentro,
the question was true for me. How can I do that? So I just stay with that question. How can I do? I don't know. I have no idea. It's too complicated. It's too difficult. So I went following this story and all these people that I interviewed for months and months and months without writing nothing. When it came the time to write it down, I said to myself, okay, Biennale Teatro is a very important place. It's a very important theater for me. I have to make it smart, come si dice, contemporaneo, di ricerca, fancy, strange. I have to do it.
Very hype. She wanted to find something that looks smart, contemporary,
fashion.
Because the Biennale of Venice, there is a theater section, and it's really like the top of the top. So if you're invited there, you need to show off.
And when I found myself thinking that, I said, oh, terrible. What are you doing? So I stopped everything and I said, no, I want to be honest with myself. this show talks about how we relate with truth. So I have to play with my truth, and my truth is this one. I start writing about tutto il percorso fatto.
So to write about the whole journey that she made.
Yeah, I talk to people on stage. I say buonasera. I start saying, me, I'm not a character. My name is Giuliana. I have 52 years old. Every year I have to aggiungere un anno. One more year every year. I come from Udine. I met a woman. She's not a character. Her name is Roberta. And blah, blah, blah. And chapter 1. And we start from there. During the play, we talk as two characters in another place, in situation, with the fourth wall. But then I go to the audience and I say, what'd she say? She says she has not enough truth inside herself. What's this question mean? And then I say, I start saying, I think that if you believe your daughter, you have to take this man and take to court and ask for justice. As everybody would say at first. Then during the play, we find out that maybe that's not the real solution. Maybe there's something else to do. So I said, okay, Biennale Teatro, thanks for the chance, but I want to take on stage my teatro d'indagine e teatro della compassione.
So thank you, Biennale of Venice, but I want to bring on stage this inquiry theater and the theater of compassion, of empathy. And since then, when you presented this show, you are performing in it.
Yes, I'm performing.
And it's not a monologue, so there is also another actress.
Maria Aris, yes. At the end, last scene, everything is not clear, ma insomma, tutto è stato svolto, sviluppato, tutti i filoni che si sono aperti, tutte le domande sono state poste al pubblico.
So at the end of the play, all the possible areas, all the possible questions have been explored in the story, in the show, and they have been asked to the audience. So the audience is invited to concretely express, but to respond like, okay, which line do I follow?
Yeah. E abbiamo pianto.
We cried.
Abbiamo litigato.
We fought.
E abbiamo solidarizzato.
And we supported each other. We came together each other.
Ma la domanda che rimane è che spettacolo faremo?
But the ultimate question that still remains is, what kind of show are we doing?
E quindi nell'ultima scena io e la madre parliamo e le dico, guarda, ho avuto un'idea.
So in the last scene of the play, there is a dialogue between the playwright, Giuliana, and the mother, and Giuliana says, look, I have an idea.
Voglio fare questo spettacolo assieme a un'altra attrice, non sarà un monologo, saremo in due, e questa attrice si chiama Maria.
I want to make a show. It won't be a monologue, it will be with another actress, and this actress, her name is Maria.
And it's the name of the real actress that is with me on stage. And usually we get really, come si dice, ci commuoviamo.
So it becomes very emotional usually at that moment.
And this is the end of the play.
And then here I have a immediate question, like, did this woman, this mother that contacted you, did she see the final result?
Sure.
And what was her reaction?
She was very happy. She was very happy. When you write in theater, touching people's real lives, you have to deal with that. Or life. I am still in touch with people that I worked with 10 years ago, 12 years ago, because we really touch each other. It's normal. During the show, I asked, and I say to the people, I say, everybody, lawyer, psychologist, social workers, that went through this story, they all went away. They had something to do, then they disappeared. And I say to the people, I say, I think I'm doing the same. What I'm doing. And I really, I true wonder about my behavior, if it was correct. But fortunately, it didn't happen. we kept in touch very deeply with this woman. Then I got to know the daughter and to share a little bit of life and things with her too. The show now is published and being on national radio in Italy, and so was a little bit, lot of emotion for her. I think she was happy to do something for other people, to help other people to face these kind of problems in family, but also in the society. I have lawyers writing me about psychologists talking to me about the play, because they see themselves in that and their difficulties in being in their job. So I think it's okay the way you went. I'm satisfied with this experiment for Biennale.
One element that really I found very touching in the play is that something that is recurrent is, as you said, this difficulty to talk, or this avoidance to talk, that not only from the mother but also from the other persons. So how to talk about something that is so big, so heavy, so disturbing, and at the same time it's there, so it's very difficult to pretend that it's not there. But at the same time, because it's so big, there are the emotions that are so strong that we cannot talk, or there is a difficulty. And then it becomes like a vicious loop, because the less we talk about it, the more problematic it becomes. And so this is what I found so powerful also at the end, when you say it's a play about the truth, that the parents don't betray the truth of the kids. And the fact that the mother somehow was not able to face the pain of the daughter, that was one of the biggest issues.
I think it's a question about theater. What theater can do for our society now, and how he can deal with this idea of being fake and being true. Now, I'm an actress, so for me it's quite easy to manage with this, because I am real on stage. It's my body, my emotion, it's my voice, it's my face, it's me. And I deal with something just real. But it's not so... I mean, it's something that only theater can do so good in art, in contemporary art, to me. Me lo traduci meglio perché ho detto un po' di cavolate.
Me l'hai detto in inglese.
Sì, cioè nel senso che io penso che ci sia oggi per me una questione che riguarda il rapporto tra il teatro, il fare teatro e il maneggiare la verità. Questo in tutti i livelli. La verità del cuore, la verità del corpo, la verità della storia che raccontiamo. Credo che la verità sia, scusami, finisco, il problema del contemporaneo.
Giuliana claims that one key element of theater is how you handle, maneggiare, like how you take in your hands or you handle truth. The truth of the heart, the truth of the body, and the truth of the story. And for Giuliana, the key element of contemporary theater is how you relate to this element of truth.
E che fare teatro di narrazione è una grande palestra, è un grande esercizio di come metti la tua verità sul palco in maniera efficace.
And so the teatro di narrazione, this theater of, let's use narration, not having at the moment a better word, so this theater of narration, it's a very good exercise, palestra is like a gym, a very good gym, where you can exercise as a performer how you can put your own truth on the stage through your body. And then, Giuliana, I would like to stay a moment on this idea of teatro della narrazione before maybe we can come back to what's happening now with your play in Italy and abroad. But to open up a little bit, because you were mentioning, and this could be interesting also for the Finnish perspective, you were mentioning that at least there are different type of theaters in Italy. There is teatro di narrazione, teatro di prosa, which could be translated as text-based theater. Then there is teatro popolare, popular theater. And then there is this big world still alive where there is commedia dell'arte and what is connected with this masked theater. If you would like to open up a little bit, what are these different four levels of, let's say, of theater? Because I feel, and maybe you can contradict me, but I feel that when we say theater here in Finland, there is, let's say, one very strong idea that theater is text-based theater. But here you were mentioning that there are at least four different lines of theater. So what is it for you, teatro di prosa? What is for you, teatro popolare? Teatro di narrazione, and then the experience with commedia dell'arte.
Sì, lo dico in italiano, tu traduci così andiamo più veloci. C'è una linea che collega molto chiara, molto forte, il teatro popolare, che io intendo anche commedia di tradizione, ma anche contemporaneo popolare, col teatro di narrazione, che è l'elemento della rottura della quarta parete.
So Giuliana claims that there is this line, teatro popolare, popular theater, which she links also with the teatro della narrazione, this theater of narration, where still nowadays it's very strong, very contemporary, and it breaks the idea of the fourth wall. There is a straight connection with the audience.
E questo succede anche nell'uso della commedia comica in Italia.
And this is also present in the use of comedy.
Io sono nata col comico.
Giuliana is born with comedy.
Definitely.
But dentro and mio eroe are very tragic.
Yes.
Let's close the parenthesis.
Cresciamo piano piano. Per me, quando io ho iniziato a fare l'attrice, ho studiato tanto, ho studiato 10 anni, che mi piaceva studiare la tecnica di recitazione, non mi fidavo del teatro di prosa, non mi piaceva.
So when Giuliana went through her education, and she said that she had a very long education, it took 10 years where she went through different experience. And then when she went to the teatro di prosa, text-based theater, well, she didn't like it. She could not trust this type of theater.
Perché non capivo dove stava il corpo dell'attore in relazione al corpo del pubblico.
She could not understand, or she could not feel where was the place or where was the body of the actor in relation with the audience.
No. Ma capisco che è cioè tutto il teatro di quarta parete, quindi situazioni borghesi, rappresentazioni della nostra contemporaneità che possono avvenire attraverso plot spezzati, no? Ricomposti a quadri, forme di scrittura molto creative, originali, ma comunque c'è qualcosa che avviene in un altrove.
And in this type of theater, where there is a plot, and even in let's say in contemporary writings made of different situations, of fragments that then the audience can recreate or recompose, all these events for Giuliana, they happen somewhere else.
Yes. And questo è rassicurante.
And she thinks that the fact that this is happening somewhere else, for the audience, it's reassuring. Because there is a fourth wall, and there is a fictional space that is not here, but it's a fictional space. It's somewhere else.
Allora preferisco il cinema.
And so she prefers to go to the movie.
Sì.
Yes.
No.
Okay, I may maybe give some hints also from the background of Giuliana, because yesterday we had a dinner, so I could ask her about her journey as an actress. And before going to the school Paolo Grassi, which is a very important school in Italy, we can compare it to TEAC here in Finland. So basically, if you go there, you have free access to all the stages in Italy. So before doing this school, which has a very strong line in teatro di prosa, this text-based, she did a lot of commedia dell'arte, and also she worked with someone who came from Gaulier. So Philippe Gaulier, the tradition of Lecoq, Philippe Gaulier does a lot of Buffon, so this kind of very political, grotesque, physical type of theater where we try to aggress the audience by talking about difficult topics, and that was your first background. And when you told me that, I could understand then, okay, this direct contact with the audience, this ability to talk about tragic element and to address the audience, because this is probably one strong element in the Gaulier education.
And it's something that belongs to our tradition, theater tradition. Since the 60s in Italy, we still have compagnie di giro, compagnie teatrali.
Theater company.
Yeah.
Like freelance or Papa Kenta.
Who used to go around with their own repertorio, their own shows. The same way it used to be hundreds of years before. The comedy, the tragedy was performed, but the actors and actresses were always looking at people and say, there's always something sottile, sotterraneo, che segna la relazione popolare, la relazione del teatro, cioè la presenza della tradizione di teatro popolare. Poi sono arrivati i registi, maledetti.
So there has been referring to these companies that used to go around. So these companies performed a play, to playing situation, but still there was always this kind of personal, this complicity with the audience, where you establish a connection and you comment either on what's happening here or what's happening in the society. And that, for Giuliana, is the connection with the tradition of popular theater. She sees in the rise of the ohjaaja, the director, like a big tragedy for this popular theater.
Yes, and with con l'avvento del grande teatro di regia, noi in Italia abbiamo avuto Strehler, abbiamo avuto Ronconi, grandi registi.
So maybe for those who don't know, but let's say the 20th century in Italy has been really marked by two big names, Strehler and Ronconi, who really, the paradox, I make some historical element. The paradox is that when Strehler in 47 created Arlecchino, Servants of Two Masters, so using Commedia dell'arte, on one hand it was a big exercise to reinvent, to rediscover this powerful theatrical style that disappeared. So to give life back to this form of theater, which on one hand it's a popular. At the same time, it was a big statement that Strehler was making, saying, okay, now it's the time for the director. I put this on stage. It's not anymore about the writer. So let's get rid of the writer. So it was he used this element that kind of flattered the ego of Italians, our great theater style, Commedia dell'arte, to assess himself as a theater director. And within there was also Ronconi. So these two big names kind of strongly marked, let's say, contemporary theater in Italy. So with the teatro di prosa, when we talk in Italy, teatro di prosa, so text-based theater, is also the teatro di regia, so the theater of the director.
Yes, è molto verticale il rapporto e così piano piano, generazione dopo generazione, il ruolo dell'attore è diventato un ruolo esecutivo.
With a very strong vertical hierarchy where the position of the actor becomes more like an instrument or actor-interpreter. The actor simply executing the vision of the director.
Mentre la nostra tradizione era esattamente l'opposto. L'attore era autore.
While in our tradition, referring to the popular theater,
la commedia dell'arte,
theater comedy, the commedia dell'arte, sorry, the position of the actor is different because the actor is also an author
of what he of himself. Sì.
So actor creator.
Yeah, as a creator. Io credo sì che nella nostra tradizione ci sia ancora desiderio di questo rapporto diretto carnale con l'attore, in qualche modo ce l'abbiamo nel DNA. Anche quando costruiamo certi testi sento che si vorrebbe andare in questa direzione, o quantomeno lo vuole il pubblico e lo vorrebbero gli attori. Chi non lo vuole sono le altre figure intermedie, i registi e gli autori.
So Giuliana thinks that there is still a very strong desire also about from the actors to reconnect with this type of theater where you establish such a strong complicity with the audience. There is a desire from the position of the actors, also from the actors to have this fleshy relationship with the actors. There are other figures that are not necessarily willing to go towards that direction, and she names the theater directors and the author, dramaturge. And now,
posso concludo con
let's
una
conclude
cosa.
because I see Linea that she's pointing the clock all the time.
Concludo. Sì, così chiudiamo bene con dentro di nuovo. Quando io lavoro, perché io dirigo anche gli spettacoli, quando lavoro con degli attori che hanno fatto questo percorso come attori di compagnia, con registi tutta la vita, e vengono sul palco con me, io che scrivo anche il testo, io dico a loro come lo vuoi dire questa battuta, come la vuoi dire tu, come te la senti, il tempo, il ritmo, tu. E loro che non sono più abituati non riescono subito a prendersi questa facoltà. È bello da vedere questa cosa.
And so Giuliana, when she works, for instance, with dentro, with actors who come from this tradition of teatro di prosa, teatro di regia, so this text-based theater, and Giuliana asks this actor, okay, how do you want to say this line? What's your feeling? How you would like to say it? Often these actors, they feel destabilized because they're not anymore used that they can have such power, that they can have such agency on their own role, on their own text.
Come l'animale che gli apri la gabbia e non osa subito uscire.
Like the animal that you open the cage and the animal doesn't dare to go out immediately. Yeah. I would like, can I still have last question? Okay, let's conclude with the intro again. What's happening with the intro? Are you performing it? Are you doing it abroad? What's happening with the intro? Is it going outside?
Okay, no, yes, we just finished our tour, winter tour. We went to Rome, to Milano. Well, quite good tour. We are a small company, so it's been translated in French. Ha vinto un bando con la Maison Vité, quindi sono molto contenta.
The text won a prize in France. I don't know what's the name.
Maison Vité.
Maison Vité. Vité is a big name of French theater, so it won this prize.
Yeah, and we are planning a tour in the United States in different universities for next year.
In English?
In English. No, in Italian with the subtitles. And what else? No, that's all. Next year we'll be in tour in Italy. Again. Yeah.
It's always in tour.
A little bit. I try to keep vivi gli spettacoli più lungo possibile. Lo spettacolo per me è un'opera a sé stante, dobbiamo dargli vita più che possiamo. Deve vivere lo spettacolo.
The play, it's a living creature that you must to keep it alive. So Giuliana tries to make them alive and creates tour with her plays that they can all the time meet the audience and stay alive.
Poi veniamo in Finlandia a farlo.
And then we come to Finland to do it here. Thank you very much, Giuliana.
Grazie tante, grazie che mi avete ascoltato.
Thank you so much, Giuliana and Davide. That sounded really interesting. Let's continue discussing this play afterwards. Let's now have a really quick bio break, like 3 minutes. Can you do in 3 minutes? There's coffee.